Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to another video here on this aquaponics greenhouse aquarium setup. I appreciate y'all tuning in and coming back. I'm going to try to get, in these videos, I like the footage. I like the underwater footage, how you can see these fish, but I do want to get into some more detail and information in the video. So I appreciate you coming back and hopefully, there's a female bluegill that just jumped from the background there. Guess she was hiding out behind the camera. But yeah, if you're at all interested in this, you can drop a comment there. I'll be glad to try to, answer any questions that you might have, or as you're getting it set up along the way. You can, people have these. You can have anything from just a native species aquarium to modify that to making an aquaponic system where you're filtering the water in that tank. There's a red ear to the left, and that's a female bluegill to the right. But you can filter the water of any tank, really. And through, another tank that you have set up with plants, floating plants that are kind of suspended a little bit out of the water. There's a female bluegill right there, and there's a male. He's kind of setting up dominance right in that main area. Indoors, you can do something like that indoors where you're growing plants that the root system, has to be just where the tips of the roots are in the water or the media, but the crown of the roots is suspended above for oxygen. Or you can do that outside, a whole aquaponics system if you're interested in that, if you've seen that, on YouTube. Other people there's a lot of videos out there of these aquaponics systems. This one is outdoors, and I'm gonna run it year round, so I did enclose it in a greenhouse. But basically with that, you have your fish tank, and then you have your garden, and the garden is like you would think of, if the garden was just by itself, it's like kind of a hydroponic garden, a garden that is growing with its roots, partially submerged in water. And the water has all the nutrients that the plants need. And so that's hydroponics. And aquaponics is those nutrients are provided 100% organically by fish, the fish waste. So you feed the fish, of course, in the tank, in the pond, whatever you have. And then they produce that organic waste. And the plants draw that up in their roots as their roots are suspended in water. And that's the basics of an aquaponics system. And there's many different ways that you can set these up. Different sizes, different ways, indoors, outdoors. It's pretty cool. I like it. I like the science behind it. And I like experimenting with it. All the pumps and the plumbing where you circulate, recirculate the water from the fish to the plants. And like I said, you can do it anything from a small, just mini fountain pump that you can get at any hardware store to, larger, more commercial sized pumps. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. But I'm going to talk more about that, like I said, in a video where I go through the whole greenhouse, and you can see all the structure and the plumbing of the system. Here, this is more underwater footage of the fish tank, the fish pond, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about the fish aspect of it, and get into some of those other details in a later video. But I did want to say, and there's a lot of different fish you can use. You can use goldfish, you can use tilapia. Tilapia can't last the winter though, if you're in a cold climate. koi. People use all kinds of fish. I chose to use native fish because, like I said, I'm here in Oklahoma. This is in my yard, backyard. I do have a greenhouse to control the temperature in the winter, but I want it to be as natural as possible, and using native species to here in Oklahoma to try to just set this thing up using all the science, using all the technology, but also I don't want to be fighting against nature, and so I want to use species that are native here to Oklahoma and already used to the climate. So when I got these bluegills and red ear, initially I transitioned them to pellets I had caught them on earthworms in the pond, and so I just fed them earthworms, little pieces of earthworms, initially, and then would throw in some pellets as well. So I would do that every day, a few earthworms, because I had a group of them, and you don't want to overfeed them, and especially when they're making that transition, eating habits will change. But over a few weeks, I transitioned them more and more to the pellets. And another thing about that I mentioned in another video is, you want to find a high protein pellet. And there are pellets, like if you go to just an agricultural store or something, there are like kind of real low grade fish pellets for ponds but those will dirty your tank, they'll deplete the oxygen, and I don't recommend those for a small, aquaponics setup. If it's 100, 200, 300, even up to 500 or 1,000 gallon pond or tank that you have, I wouldn't recommend those big pond type game fish pellets, because in my experience they're dirty. They just create a lot of waste, and so if you stick with ones that are more for like a small pond, backyard pond, water feature, those are a lot cleaner, and only feed your fish as many as they can consume pretty quickly. You do want to find a high protein one, and what I found is the ones that have shrimp. The ones that have shrimp in the ingredients, at least the bluegill, they went after that a lot more. They really like that, and they help making the transition. Well, you got the whole group of them out there right now. That's some female bluegills, the big male in the middle. That was in the back there in that flower pot, kind of towards the right in the background. That is a female red ear. There's another red ear off to the left in the corner right there. So they're all coming out now and swimming around, establishing their territory, and their place in the tank. They're kind of pecking order. But yeah, eventually, don't get discouraged if they don't go after the pellets right away. They will, and once that becomes their main food supply, they'll make that transition 100% to pellets. And now, I put the pellets in there, they eat them. Now, every once in a while, I do give them a treat. If I come across an earthworm, I'll throw it in there. I usually like to break it up so a couple of the fish can get some of it. Crickets, if you see crickets in your yard, I'll throw those in as well as a little treat. And so I recommend doing that. They're a lot more aggressive for live food, and that's good for them. And so that's another thing. It's kind of almost like, keeping these guys as pets. And so I like doing that. But also, when you're setting up a tank like this, those are red ears right there. They're just looks like they're still hungry, looking for more pellets right there at the surface. But you want more females to males. You might have heard that if you keep fish, if you keep tanks and aquariums, cichlids. You want more females to males. That also helps reduce the stress and that aggression that happens with males towards females. And so in this tank, I know I have That one right there that you see, that red ear to the left, that's a male. And then this bluegill that you've been seeing in the middle, he's a male. And they have the more coloration. The red ear you can tell is a male because that ear flap has that red marking. Excuse me. And the bluegill is just more colorful, has that kind of a rosy breast area. So you want to keep that in mind, you know, just more females to males in your setup when you do something like this. And you also want to get, you know, I would recommend getting a water test kit just so you can test the pH level, the nitrates, especially when you're first getting it set up, just to make sure that it's, you know, you're keeping all your chemical levels in a good state when you're getting things set up. But guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this and watching. Subscribe to my channel. That will help me. Like this. If you enjoyed watching this footage, I'm going to come out with more videos with more details about the greenhouse. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you want to see more videos like this, do subscribe, and that kind of will help me to produce more videos here in the future. Y'all have a great day, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it.